Welcome to summer in our little stone cottage. I am excited to bring you guys along for a few sun-soaked days here where we are just trying our best to slow down and really soak in the beauty of this season and mainly the opportunities for slowness that it brings. I admittedly have been one of those people that loves fall and, autumn to the point where it's midsummer and I'm excited and I'm telling my husband that I'm excited for chilly weather and football, and he is like, stop it right now. And I have really come to appreciate summer more these last few years, especially once we started having kids. It's made me crave the warm weather much more than the cold weather because we can spend a lot of time outside, and anyone with kids, that getting outside literally changes your whole life. Not only is it so beneficial for everybody, the whole family, to get outside, to, feel the breeze, get fresh air, have sunshine on your face, to experience nature, whether that's literally just, your grass outside or it's the woods or wherever you are. It's so beneficial in so many ways, and it truly just makes life a lot easier. So I have just really come to appreciate the summer days more than I have in the past. And I now kind of don't want summer to end. And so I'm slowly, changing my ways, which I think is a good thing. So one of the things we have been really enjoying this summer is obviously the garden. So I shared a few months back that we started to build a massive fenced-in garden. So it's incomplete. So far, we just have 3 raised beds. We will be doubling those, hopefully in time to start a fall garden. And I have plans to build big trellises and plant fruit bushes and have all kinds of stuff going on in here. But we're just kind of scaling up to that. And even though this is just a quote unquote small start, it's been such an incredible start. We have, cucumbers and tomatoes and zucchini starting to come in. I have little eggplants growing. We've got tons of herbs, onions growing, and it's just truly such a delight. And I love, coming out here every morning with my kids. We kind of check on the garden and see what's growing. And every day, especially my 3-year-old son, he's like, this is bigger. And he's just so excited about it. And it's cool to see it through their eyes, to watch them really understand how, this is where food actually comes from. Like, we can do this ourselves, and this is how long it takes. And it's just been a fun process. And I love gardening so much, or I should say I have come to love gardening so much because it really teaches patience, because there is a lot of waiting and there's a lot of stillness in the waiting and opportunities for rest. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. But I wanted to share, because I find this very exciting, I scored this little outdoor patio set on Facebook Marketplace not too long ago. And we've been wanting like a place to sit outside on this tiny little back patio. And I had just been looking for a table for a while, and I wanted to find one on Facebook Marketplace for a good deal. And I finally found one. I was so excited. And then, of course, what did I do? I got really lazy about the cushions, and I let them sit out through a few storms. The cats were laying on them, and it actually shocked me how quickly they got disgusting. So I had to take them all off. I had to, throw them in my washer, even though the tag told me not to, but it was fine. And just get those all nice and clean. And then I also ordered just like a little outdoor storage cabinet thing off of Amazon, so I can, be a real adult and properly store them outside. So, when they're not in use, they're covered and protected, and they'll actually stay clean and nice. But it has been so wonderful to have a table out there. We've been trying to eat dinner outside. We could be doing it so much more often because we've had pretty good weather besides a lot of crazy storms this summer. But I think we're just not in the habit of doing it. So by the end of the day, I think everyone's just a little tired and we kind of forget, but trying to get out there more often, because eating outside is just magical. And then obviously it's way less cleanup. I absolutely love to take care of my family and to keep up this home. And in order for me to do that, I need to be very intentional about taking care of myself. As moms, we all know how easy it is to just want to put ourselves last, but You just can't go on very long doing that before burning out or not being able to keep up in certain aspects. One of the keys for me is to have a well-crafted supplement regimen, and you guys know that one of my top favorite supplements is Element. Element is hands down the best electrolyte drink mix out there. You just mix it right into your water. It's super easy. It tastes very good, but it has no sugar in it. Electrolytes continually need to be replenished, but especially now in summertime, we are outside in the hot sun and we are sweating and therefore losing those electrolytes even faster. Electrolytes play so many important roles in the body, like blood glucose control, muscle synthesis, good sleep, DNA repair, blood pressure regulation, energy production. Element is just such a simple way to replenish these key electrolytes that your body needs, and I love that their formula is very simple. I already mentioned it has no sugar, but they also do not contain any colors, any fillers, or really any artificial ingredients at all. I notice such a difference in just how hydrated I feel and therefore how energized I feel. I feel like my mind is sharper when I'm well hydrated, and I just noticed such a difference on the days that I don't drink Element. If you guys want to check it out for yourself, you can get a free 8-count sample pack with Element's most popular drink mix flavors with any purchase at drinkelement.com/Becca Bristow. That's DRINKLMNT.com/Becca Bristow. I have been on a journey the last few years to really slow down the pace of my life, which is not something that comes easy to me because I'm a doer. And I like to be busy. It's where I'm most comfortable. It's where I get most of my energy. And while I don't think there's necessarily wrong with, just staying on top of the day-to-day and running your home well or running your business well, you can find yourself in a place where you either put too much work or pressure on yourself, or just maybe that comes naturally with what you've decided to get into, but you can create a situation for yourself where you have to basically sprint in order to get it all done or to keep up. And you can do that, but it'll catch up to you. And it definitely caught up to me. And I have just kind of been slowly stepping back from that pace over the last few years. A lot of it has to do with my work and my work schedule and the work demand that I put on myself. But a lot of this really kicked off with when we sold our big, giant dream house a few years ago, because we just wanted to live more simply and we wanted to remove the hustle pressure we basically put on ourselves in order to maintain that house, really, and I guess that lifestyle. And it's been such a blessing. It was so hard to do at the time. And it was one of those things that I knew God was calling me to do that. It was loud and clear, but I just was kicking my feet for a little while because I didn't really want to loosen my white-knuckled grip on what I wanted. But the past few years have just really taught me so much about being able to step away and, being able to rest. And as someone who has always been a control freak, as someone who has been and still is an entrepreneur, it's really hard to loosen the grip because one, it's scary, and two, you feel like you can't. But I've been called, I've just been feeling God call me so strongly in this direction. And it's been really hard to do that because I'm like, well, I have to make money, Lord. So what do you want me to do? Years ago, I was talking to a friend about just how much pressure I felt I was under. And she had, at the time, quoted scripture to me. She quoted Matthew 6:26. Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? And honestly, at the time, it's not that I wasn't ready to hear it, but it's almost like I didn't fully believe it because I was like, how do I possibly stop what I'm doing? How do I loosen the reins or let go? Because I have all these balls in the air and like, I can't just start dropping them. But now kind of on the other side of it, as I've really I've made a lot of decisions in my work life to back off of a lot of things. And this is not me like announcing I'm leaving or anything like that. I'm happy. I love doing YouTube and I'm here to stay. But I have seen where, for myself, I didn't necessarily have that trust. I had to learn that trust for myself, that you really can, if God is calling you to relinquish control and slow down, you can do it. He's going to take care of you. And that is just something that I have really been seeing kind of come to fruition in my own life. And I have just been feeling the pressure and the burdens and the anxiety that I have put on myself. Or maybe I should say the enemy put them there, but I have just felt all of that lift. And it's truly just pure joy. That's why God is there, right? He's there to take care of us and help us. And it's just been truly such a delight to behold and to see with my own eyes. And this summer, especially because I still have the rushing tendency. And this is something that I struggle with because I just kick into that like cortisol, go, go, go mode. I lived there for so many years that it's like second nature for me to be in that mode, in that zone. So I still can so easily get there. But this summer has really just been a treat because, my oldest is the only one who was in school last year, and that'll change this year. But, everybody's home. We don't have anywhere to be. Most weeks, my daughters did a couple of camps, and I was like, oh, I do not like this whole getting up and getting out of the house. I'm not ready for this. By the time fall comes around, I will appreciate the routine again. But I have just been reveling in this nowhere to rush off to, nowhere to be for the most part. And we are not even like a busy family during the school year. All my kids are still little. Only one was in school. We don't really do a lot of activities at this point, at least. And, we like to spend a lot of time together as a family. So we weren't even like a busy family, but I'm just really enjoying this, just being at home with nowhere to go. The kids, basically, it's like, you want to make bracelets? Great. Let's sit down and make bracelets. You want to bake something? Great. Let's bake something. You want to just go sit outside and drink coffee and stare at the garden? Great. Let's do it because we can and we have the time. I think it is all too easy to let life just pass us by without appreciating the small moments, the things that really matter. And I think it's also really easy for our priorities to get out of whack. We tend to just chase, I think almost as like a knee-jerk reaction. We just chase the things that, the world tells us will make us happy, whether that's more money in the bank, more, a square footage for your house, a better car, a bigger garden, like whatever it is, we all just are running after these things, I think, just because everybody else is, and it's just like kind of what you do. But sometimes you really need to take a step back, and sometimes it takes you, God kind of slapping you in the face a little bit, which is what happened to me a few years ago. And so that you can really remember what's important and what actually matters. And, when you hear the stories of people who are, on their deathbed and people say like, is there anything that you regret? It's never like, I wish I made more money, or, I wish I had a fancier house or anything material. It's always, I regret not spending more time with my kids. I regret working more than prioritizing work over family. And obviously we all have to work to make money. We have bills to pay. We have responsibilities we have to keep up. That is just a fact of life. But finding that balance of, keeping my business going and helping to provide for the family. My husband is also doing the same. But while also really reveling in the present moment and enjoying what's here and what I've been blessed with now. And if you are moving too quickly, you'll miss it. Like, you will literally miss the little small moments that make life worth living, that make life so full of joy. So whether that's just watching the bees buzz around on some of the flowers outside your house, or drinking a cup of coffee outside in the sunshine, watching your kids run around barefoot. Maybe they're fighting, maybe they're not, maybe they're happy, but you're out there and you are just enjoying the present moment. But you have to be moving slow enough to actually recognize it. You have to put the to-do list aside, or maybe just make the to-do list a little bit shorter, because we're moms, we still have things to do. There's still laundry to get done. There's still meals to be made. There's cleaning to be done. There's, for a lot of us, there's work to be done for our jobs. We can't just completely stop. But if there's one thing that I've learned is that there is rest in God's presence and his plan for you. And if you're feeling like you can't possibly slow down, then that is something that you need to pray for. Pray for clarity of what your next move should be. What is it that he's really calling you to do? How do you get in alignment with that? Because there is so much peace there, And I want to encourage you to chase that, because that is where our ultimate fulfillment lies. Thank you guys so much for joining me here in our little cottage, and I hope to see you in the next video.